The emergency lights painted the control room in angry red. Jiwoo pressed his hands against his temples and stared at the screens showing their food supplies. 3 weeks left. Maybe 4, if they cut rations again. "Sir, the shields are down. To 12%, Seung-ho said from his station. The young communications officer had dark circles under his eyes. Everyone did these days. Jiwoo nodded. He already knew. After 6 months under siege by the Vraktar Empire, he knew every failing system in the colony. The mining station on asteroid K7923 had never been built for war. It was built to extract rare metals from floating rocks in space. Now it was their prison. "Any word from Earth?" Jiwoo asked, though he knew the answer. "Nothing new, sir. Just the same message. Help is coming. Help is coming." Earth had been saying that for months. Jiwoo looked through the reinforced window at the Vraktar ships hanging in space like vultures. 3 battle cruisers and dozens of smaller attack vessels. The aliens had appeared 6 months ago, demanding the humans surrender their technology and become slaves. When the colony refused, the siege began. "Director Jiwoo." Seung-ho suddenly sat up straight. "I'm detecting a ship approaching. It's using human identification codes." Hope flared in Jiwoo's chest. Finally, Earth had sent their military fleet. Space Marines in heavy armor, weapons that could crack alien shields. Real soldiers to save them. "Put it on screen," Jiwoo ordered. The main display flickered to life, showing a ship dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Jiwoo frowned. This wasn't right. The ship was small, barely larger than a personal transport, and it was pink, with what looked like glitter painted on the hull. "That can't be right," muttered Hanul, the security chief. She stood next to Jiwoo, her hand resting on her sidearm. "Seung-ho, check those codes again." "I did, Chief. 3 times. It's definitely from Earth Defense Command." The pink ship ignored the Vraktar vessels completely and headed straight for the colony. The aliens seemed just as confused as the humans. Their weapons tracked the small ship but didn't fire. "They're requesting docking permission," Seung-ho reported. Jiwoo felt his hope crumbling. 1 small ship? This was Earth's idea of rescue? "Grant permission. Bay 3. 20 minutes later, Jiwoo, Hanul, and a security team waited in the docking bay. The pink ship had landed smoothly, its glittery hull reflecting the harsh dock lights. Steam hissed from the cooling engines. The ship's door opened with a cheerful chime, like a convenience store entrance. A ramp extended, and out she came. Jiwoo felt his jaw drop. A girl skipped down the ramp. She couldn't be older than 16. She wore a frilly white dress with pink ribbons. Her black hair was tied in twin ponytails with butterfly clips. On her back was a backpack shaped like a cartoon cat. She reached the bottom of the ramp and performed a little curtsy. Hi, I'm Yoonji." Her voice was high and sweet, like she was talking to kindergarten children. "Earth sent me to help. This place is so cool, it's like a super big space house." The security team exchanged glances. Hanul stepped forward, her face hard. "There must be some mistake. We requested military assistance. Where are the Marines?" "The fleet?" Yoonji giggled and covered her mouth with her hand. Her nails were painted with tiny stars. "Silly, I'm your help. Just me." She spun in a circle, making her dress flare out. "Don't worry. Yoonji is super good at helping." Jiwoo felt sick. Earth had abandoned them. Instead of soldiers, they sent a child in a party dress. "How old are you?" he asked, weakly. "I'm 16. "Well, that's what my file says." She giggled again. "Want to see my room on the ship? I decorated it myself. Pink is my favorite color." Hanul's hand tightened on her weapon. "This is insane. We're under siege by an alien. Empire, we need weapons, soldiers, warships, not whatever this is." Yoonji tilted her head like a confused puppy. "But I am a soldier. See?" She reached into her backpack and pulled out a small card. "Official Earth Defense Special Operations. It has a hologram and everything." Jiwoo took the card with numb fingers. It was real. The authentication codes checked out, According to this, the girl in front of him was Lieutenant Yunji, Special Operations Division. There has to be more, he said desperately. Reinforcements following you? Weapons in your ship? Nope. Yunji bounced on her heels. Just me. Oh, but I brought snacks. Do you like chocolate? I have lots of chocolate. The dock's emergency speakers crackled to life. Seung-ho's panicked voice filled the bay. Director, the Vraktar are moving. Their command ship is broadcasting. Ji-woo ran, back to the control room, the others following. Yunji skipped alongside them, humming a children's song. In the control room, the main screen showed the face of Commander Vraktar. The Vraktar was 3 meters of armored muscle, with 4 arms and teeth like broken glass. His voice was deep and harsh. Humans of Mining Station K7923, we detected your pathetic reinforcement. 1 small ship, 1 pilot. Your Earth has abandoned you. Surrender now and we may show mercy. Resist and we will take you by force. You have 1 hour. The screen went. Ji-woo slumped in his chair. It was over. They couldn't fight the Vraktar with mining equipment and small arms, and now Earth's idea of help was a teenager who acted like she was 8. Mr. Director? Yunji stood beside him, clutching her cat backpack. Those aliens seem really mean. They're like the bullies at school, but bigger. Yes, Ji-woo said, tiredly. They're bullies, very dangerous bullies. Yunji put a finger to her lips, thinking hard. Then she smiled brightly. I know. When someone is mean to my friends, I stop them. Can I go talk to the space bullies? Pretty please? Hanul laughed, but it was bitter and sharp. Talk to them. They're killers. They've destroyed colonies. They eat species that resist them. Oh. Yunji's face fell. Then she brightened again. But I'm really good at talking to bullies, and if talking doesn't work... She reached into her backpack and pulled out a tube of lip gloss. I have my special supplies. She applied the gloss carefully. It was sparkly and smelled like strawberries. Ji-woo stood up. He had to get this child to safety. Maybe hide her in the deep mines. The Vraktar would come soon and he wouldn't let them find her. Yunji, listen to me. These aliens are coming to hurt us. We need to get you somewhere safe. But I'm here, to help, she pouted. Earth sent me special to save everyone. Seung-ho spoke up from his station. Sir, I'm reading massive power signatures from her ship. The energy readings are... impossible. Everyone turned to look at the screens. The pink, glittery ship was generating power levels that shouldn't be possible for something that size. Yunji giggled. Oopsie, I forgot to turn on stealth mode. My ship gets cranky when I forget. Dong-hyun, the chief engineer, entered the control room. He was staring at a data tablet. Director, I scanned her backpack when she walked by. The mass readings are off the charts. That thing weighs at least 200 kilograms. Everyone looked at Yunji. She was holding the backpack with one hand like it weighed nothing. It's my special equipment, she said cheerfully. Want to see? Before anyone could answer, the alarm started screaming. On the screens, Vraktar boarding pods were launching from their ships. They're not waiting for the deadline, Hanul shouted. They're attacking now. Yunji clapped her hands. Oh good, I was getting bored waiting. She adjusted her butterfly hair clips and headed for the door. Time to play. Ji-woo grabbed her arm. No, you'll be killed. She looked up at him with big, innocent eyes. But for just a moment, Ji-woo thought he saw something else. Something old and dangerous, hiding behind the childlike face. Don't worry, Mr. Director, Yunji said softly. Yunji is very good at playing with bullies. Then she skipped out of the control room, humming her little song, heading straight toward the incoming aliens. Ji-woo stared at the monitors in horror. The Vraktar boarding pods were cutting through space like deadly arrows, heading straight for the colony's outer hull. And somewhere in the corridors, a teenage girl in a party dress was skipping toward certain death. Hanul, get your team. We need to find her, Ji-woo shouted. But Hanul was already moving, barking orders into her radio. All security teams to Section 7. We have a civilian in danger. On the screen, Seung-ho tracked Yunji's movement through the colony. She wasn't running or hiding. She was literally skipping through the hallways, stopping occasionally to look at wall decorations or peek into rooms. She's heading directly for the breach point, Seung-ho reported, his voice shaking. The Vraktar will land right on top of her in 3 minutes. Jiwoo grabbed the intercom. Yoonji, please return to the control room immediately. This is not safe. Her cheerful voice came through the speakers. I'm okay, Mr. Director. I'm just going to say hi to our visitors. My mom always said to be polite to guests. Dong-hyun, the engineer, was studying more readings from Yoonji's ship. His face had gone pale. Director, these power signatures, they match theoretical weapons that don't exist yet. Weapons that Earth has only dreamed about building. What are you saying? I'm saying that pink ship has enough firepower to crack a moon in half. But the controls? They're simplified, like a video game, like they were designed for a child to use. A massive impact shook the colony. The first boarding pod had attached to the outer hull. Metal screamed as the Vraktar cutting tools went to work. Jiwoo watched helplessly as Yoonji reached the section where the aliens would break through. She sat down cross-legged in the middle of the corridor and pulled out her tube of lip gloss. Again. She's applying makeup, Hanyul said in disbelief. The Vraktar are about to breach and she's applying makeup. More impacts. 3 more boarding pods attached to the colony. The Vraktar weren't taking chances. They were sending multiple strike teams. The first breach opened with a shower of sparks and molten metal. Through the hole stepped Commander Vrexkar, himself leading his warriors. The Vraktar commander was even more terrifying in person. His bioarmor writhed like it was alive, and his 4 arms each held a different weapon. Behind him came 50 warriors, each one a nightmare of claws and teeth and advanced alien technology. They saw Yoonji immediately. She waved at them. Hi, welcome to our space house. I'm Yoonji. Vrexkar stopped. His warriors spread out, weapons aimed at the small human. What is this? The commander growled. The humans send a child to face us? Yoonji stood up and smoothed her dress. I'm not just any child. I'm a special helper. Earth sent me to talk to you about being nicer. The Vraktar warriors made sounds that might have been laughter, harsh, grating sounds that hurt human ears. Vrexkar stepped closer. Little human, where are your parents? Where are the soldiers? It's just me. Yoonji beamed at him. But that's okay. I'm really good at making friends. Do you want to be friends? In the control room, Hanyul cursed. She's going to get herself killed. We need to— Wait, Dong-hyun interrupted. He was staring at a thermal scan of the corridor. Look at her body temperature. It's not normal, and her heart rate, it's only 40 beats per minute. That's impossibly low for a human in danger. On screen, Vrexkar had moved within arm's reach of Yoonji. He towered over her, 3 meters of alien muscle and armor against a girl who barely came up to his waist. You are brave for one so small, Vrexkar admitted. But bravery is not enough. Surrender your colony and I will make your death quick. Yoonji tilted her head. That's not very nice. My teacher says we should use our words, not violence. Want to try again? The commander's 4 eyes narrowed. Enough of this. He reached down with one massive clawed hand to grab her. What happened next was too fast for the security cameras to properly capture. One moment, Vrexkar was reaching for Yoonji. The next, the 3-meter alien commander was flying backward through the air. He crashed into the far wall hard enough to dent the reinforced steel. Yoonji hadn't seemed to move. She was still standing in the same spot, still smiling. Oops, you startled me, she said brightly. I'm sorry. Are you okay, Mr. Alien? The Vraktar warriors opened fire. Plasma bolts and kinetic rounds filled the corridor. The weapon's fire was intense enough to melt through battleship armor. Any normal human would have been vaporized instantly. Yoonji moved. It wasn't running or dodging. She danced. She twirled and spun like she was performing ballet, her dress fluttering around her. Plasma bolts passed through the space where she had been a microsecond before. Kinetic rounds sparked off the walls behind her. She was giggling. This is fun. It's like dodgeball at school. She cartwheeled past 3 warriors and they collapsed unconscious before she had even finished the move. She hadn't appeared to touch them. In the control room, the monitors couldn't track her properly. She was moving too fast, but not in straight lines. She was skipping, dancing, playing, and the Vraktar were falling. One tried to grab her. She patted its armored hand, and the entire arm went limp. Another fired point blank. She blew it a kiss, and it dropped its weapon, clawing at its throat as if it couldn't breathe. "Tag, you're it!" she called out, tapping a warrior on what might have been its knee. The alien's legs buckled, and it face-planted on the deck. Rexkar pulled himself from the wall, bioarmor sparking. "What are you?" Yunji paused in her dance. "I'm Yunji. I told you that already, silly." She reached into her cat backpack and pulled out what looked like a juice box. She took a sip through the straw, then offered it to the commander. "Want some? It's fruit punch, my favorite." Rexkar roared and charged. His forearms moved in a coordinated attack pattern that had never failed him. He had killed champions of a dozen species with those moves. Yunji stepped inside his reach like she was walking through a door. She poked him once in the center of his chest. The commander froze mid-strike. His eyes went wide. Then he toppled backward like a falling tree. The remaining warriors backed away. Some tried to retreat through the breach. Yunji skipped after them. "Wait! We're not done playing!" In the control room, Min Jung, the colony medic, arrived just in time to see the tactical display. All 50 Vraktar warriors were down. The entire boarding party had been neutralized. The elapsed time was 47 seconds. "That's impossible," Min Jung whispered. Yunji's voice came through the speakers. She sounded disappointed. "Aw, they all fell asleep. Mr. Director, your visitors are taking naps in the hallway. Should I wake them up so we can play more?" Jiwoo found his voice. "No. Yunji, please come back to the control room." "Okay, but first..." On the monitors, they watched her carefully apply more lip gloss. The strawberry scent was probably filling the corridor. As she skipped back toward the control room, Hanul checked her scanner. "The Vraktar, they're all alive." "Unconscious but alive, how did she?" Min Jung was already pulling up the medical sensors. "I need to scan her. Those movements, that speed, that no baseline human can do that." Donghyun hadn't looked away from his screens. "The other boarding pods are retreating. They're actually running away." A few minutes later, Yunji bounced into the control room. Her dress wasn't even wrinkled. Her hair clips were still perfectly in place. "Hi, everyone. Did you see? I made lots of new friends. Well, they're sleeping now, but when they wake up, maybe we can have a tea party." Jiwoo stared at her. How did you do that?" Yunji looked confused. "Do what?" "Oh, you mean the game? It's easy. I'm really good at tag." Min Jung approached slowly, medical scanner in hand. "Yunji, can I check to make sure you're not hurt?" "Sure." "I like doctors. They give lollipops." As Min Jung ran her scanner, her eyes grew wider. She looked at Jiwoo and mouthed silently, "This isn't possible." On the main screen, the Vraktar fleet was pulling back. For the first time in 6 months, they were moving away from the colony. Zhang Ho reported, "I'm intercepting their communications. They're arguing about what just happened. Some of them think we have a new weapon." Yunji was showing Min Jung her collection of hair clips. "This one is my favorite. It has a unicorn." Jiwoo watched the impossible girl chat about unicorns while 50 of the galaxy's most feared warriors lay unconscious in their corridor. Earth hadn't sent them soldiers or weapons. They had sent them something else entirely, something that wore pink dresses and liked fruit punch, something that had just made the Vraktar Empire afraid. The Vraktar fleet hung in space like angry storm clouds. For 3 hours they had been silent. No threats, no demands, just waiting. In the colony's medical bay, Min Jung stared at her scanner results for the 10th time. Yunji sat on the examination table, swinging her legs and humming a children's song. "This can't be right," Min Jung muttered. She showed the results to Jiwoo. Her bones, they're not normal bone. They're some kind of carbon composite. Stronger than anything I've seen. And her muscles? Jiwoo asked quietly. Synthetic fibers, woven through organic tissue. Her strength must be, I can't even calculate it. And her brain, Minjung shook her head. The neural activity is off the charts. She's processing information faster than our computers. Yoonji looked up from the cartoon she was watching on a datapad. Are you talking about me? Am I sick? No, you're not sick, Jiwoo assured her. We're just curious about how strong you are. Oh, I'm super strong. Yoonji flexed her thin arms. Want to see? I can lift really heavy things, before anyone could stop her. She hopped off the table and walked to a storage container. It was marked with its weight, 500 kilograms. She picked it up with one hand and lifted it over her head. See? Easy. The adults in the room stared. Hanul's hand moved instinctively to her sidearm, though she knew it would be useless against someone who could throw half a ton around like a toy. Yoonji, Jiwoo said carefully. Who made you this strong? She put down the container and tilted. Her head. Made me. I don't understand, I've always been me. The conversation was interrupted by alarms. Shung Ho's voice came over the intercom. Director, the Vraktar are moving again. Their command ship is approaching. Everyone rushed to the control room. On the main screen, Commander Vrexkar's flagship was moving forward, weapons charging. But something was different. More ships were arriving, not just Vraktar vessels. Jiwoo recognized Skarn destroyers and Zalathi war barges. The Vraktar had called their allies. They're forming a battle line, Hanul reported. Over 100 ships now. A communication came through. This time, it wasn't Vrexkar on the screen. It was someone much worse. Supreme Overlord Karax, Emperor of the Vraktar Empire. Even on a screen, the Overlord was terrifying. Larger than other Vraktar, covered in ceremonial armor that seemed to move on its own. His 6 eyes burned with intelligence and cruelty. Humans, the Overlord's voice was like grinding stone. You have something interesting. Something that defeated my warriors. I want it. Jiwoo stepped forward. Supreme Overlord, we are just minors. We want no conflict with your empire. Silence, Karax roared. You will surrender the weapon that defeated my warriors, or I will take it from your corpses. Yoonji, who had been coloring in a book, looked up. He seems really angry. Maybe he needs a nap? The Overlord's eyes focused on her. That is your weapon? A child? I'm not a weapon, Yoonji protested. I'm a helper, and you're being mean. Karax leaned forward. Whatever you are, you will. Come with us. Our scientist will discover your secrets. Yoonji stood up, her coloring book forgotten. For the first time since arriving, she wasn't smiling. I don't want to go with you. You're bullies. And I don't like bullies. Then you will watch your colony die. The screen went dark. Immediately, Alert started screaming. Energy signatures spiked across the alien fleet. They were preparing to fire. Shields at 8%, Donghyun reported. We can't survive. A barrage from that many ships. Yoonji walked to the window overlooking the docking bay. Her pink ship sat there, small and harmless looking among the mining vehicles. Mr. Director? Her voice was different. Still high and sweet, but with something underneath. Can I go talk to them again? Please? Jiwoo looked at the fleet arrayed. Against them, over 100 warships. Enough firepower to crack the asteroid they were sitting on. Yoonji, there are too many. Even you can't. She turned to face him. Her eyes were still big and innocent, but behind them, Jiwoo saw something that made him step back. Something ancient and tired and incredibly dangerous. Please? She said, softly. I promise I'll be careful. Jiwoo found himself nodding. What choice did they have? Yoonji clapped her hands, instantly cheerful again. Yay, thank you. She skipped toward the door, then paused. Oh, I should change first. Can't meet. Important people in a dirty dress. She disappeared into the bathroom. 2 minutes later, she emerged wearing an identical white dress with pink ribbons. Her hair was freshly styled with new butterfly clips. How do I look? She asked, twirling. You look nice. Minjung managed. Good. First impressions are important. She headed to the docking bay, humming her little song. The colonists watched her go, unsure if they were seeing their savior or just a child walking to her death. In the bay, Yunji approached her pink ship. She patted its hull like it was a pet. "Time to work," she said cheerfully. She pulled her Hello Kitty backpack from the ship and put it on. Then she walked to the main airlock. "Yunji, wait," Jiwoo called over the intercom. "You can't go out." "There without a suit," she giggled. "Silly, I don't need a suit. Space is fun." Before anyone could stop her, she cycled the airlock and stepped out into the vacuum. On the monitors, they watched in shock as she walked across the asteroid's surface like she was strolling through a park. No suit, no breathing equipment. Just a girl in a party dress skipping through the airless void. She found a good spot and waved at the alien fleet. Then she reached into her backpack and pulled out what looked like a microphone. Her voice, impossibly, came through the communication systems. "Testing, testing, can everyone hear me?" The alien fleet's formation wavered. They hadn't expected this. "Hi, I'm Yunji. I know you're all upset, but fighting is not nice. So I have an idea." She pulled something else from her backpack. It looked like a toy wand with a star on top. "Let's play a game instead. If you win, I'll come with you. If I win, you leave my friends alone, okay?" Karax's voice boomed across space. "What game, little creature?" Yunji smiled. "Simple. You try to catch me and I try to tag all your ships. First one to finish wins." The Overlord laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Agreed. Begin." Every weapon in the alien fleet turned toward the tiny figure on the asteroid. Targeting computers locked on, energy weapons charged. Yunji pressed a button on her toy wand and vanished. She reappeared a kilometer away, standing on empty space like it was solid ground. The fleet's weapons swiveled, trying to track her. She vanished again, this time appearing right next to a Vraktar battlecruiser. She tapped its hull with her wand. "Tag, you're out." The battlecruiser's systems shut down instantly. Lights went dark. Engines died. It began to drift. The fleet opened fire. Space lit up with enough energy to vaporize mountains. Plasma beams, antimatter torpedoes, gravity weapons that twisted space itself. The spot where Yunji had been ceased to exist. She appeared on top of a Skarn destroyer doing a handstand. "Missed me." Tap. The destroyer went dark. She blinked across the battlefield faster than thought. Each time she appeared, she touched a ship with her wand. Each touch, a ship died. Not destroyed, just switched off. The aliens tried everything. Overlapping fields of fire, predictive targeting, area denial weapons. Nothing worked. She moved through their attacks like they were rain and she was staying dry. This is fun." Her voice sang across the communication channels. In 10 minutes, half the fleet was drifting powerless. In 15, 3/4. The remaining ships pulled back, forming a protective shell around the Overlord's flagship. Yunji appeared sitting cross-legged on a disabled war barge. She pulled out her lip gloss and applied it carefully. "Ready to give up?" she asked brightly. Karax's voice was different now. There was something in it that hadn't been there before. Fear. "What are you?" he demanded. Yunji stood up and curtsied. "I'm Yunji. I keep telling everyone that." She vanished one more time. When she reappeared, she was inside the Overlord's command center, standing right in front of his throne. The bridge crew scrambled for weapons. Karax himself rose, all 6 eyes wide with shock. Yunji looked around with interest. "Wow, your ship is really big and shiny." She walked up to the Overlord, who towered over her even more than Vrexkar had. She had to crane her neck back to see his face. "Do you give up?" she asked sweetly. Karax stared down at the impossible little creature that had just disabled his entire fleet. His armor creaked as he slowly, carefully, knelt down to her level. "I yield," he said quietly. Yunji beamed and patted his armored head. "Good, see? Playing games is much better than fighting." She pulled a sticker from her backpack and stuck it on the Overlord's chest plate. It was a happy face with the words, "Good sport," written under it. "Now, you promise to leave my friends alone?" "Yes," Karax whispered. "Forever and ever?" "Forever and ever." Pinky promise. She held out her tiny finger. The supreme overlord of the Vraktar Empire, conqueror of worlds, carefully extended one massive claw and linked it with her pinky. Yay, we're friends now, Yunji declared. Want some candy? I have lollipops. Back on the colony, the humans watched their screens in stunned silence. The most powerful war fleet in the sector had just been defeated by a girl with a toy wand and a handful of stickers, and now she was sharing candy with their supreme leader. The colony cafeteria had never hosted a party like this. Yunji had insisted on celebrating their new peace with the Vraktar. She hung paper streamers from the ceiling and put up handmade signs that said, "Friendship Party," in colorful letters. HFY. Strangest part was the guests. 3 Vraktar warriors sat at a table, looking deeply uncomfortable as Yunji served them juice and cookies. Their massive forms made the human chairs look like toys. Try the chocolate chip ones, Yunji encouraged them. I helped make them. Vrexkar, who had led the first attack, carefully picked up a cookie with his claws. He nibbled it, then his 4 eyes widened. This is pleasant, he admitted. Yunji clapped. I knew you'd like them. See? We can all be friends. Jiwoo watched from across the room. The sight was surreal. Yesterday these aliens had been trying to conquer them. Now they were eating cookies and listening to Yunji talk about her favorite cartoons. It doesn't make sense, Hanul said beside him. How does she do it? The strength, the speed, surviving in vacuum. Minjung joined them, holding her medical scanner. I've run every test I can think of. Her body is impossible. It's like someone rebuilt a human from scratch using technology we can't even imagine. Across the room, a small voice piped up. Why are you so strong? Everyone turned. The speaker was Hye Jin, the colony's only child. 9 years old with curious eyes and braided hair. Her parents had kept her hidden during the siege, but now she stood facing Yunji. Yunji smiled at her. Hi, I'm strong because I am. Want to be friends? Hye-jin studied her carefully. Children see things adults miss. You're not really 16, are you? The room went quiet. Even the Vraktar stopped eating. Yunji's smile flickered for just a moment. Of course I am. My file says so. My grandma has eyes like yours, Hye-jin said. Old eyes. Sad eyes. How old are you really? Yunji looked down at her hands. When she spoke, her voice was smaller. I don't like to count anymore. She stood up quickly, bright smile back in place. Who wants to play a game? I know lots of fun games. But Hye-jin wasn't done. She walked closer and took Yunji's hand. It's okay. I won't tell anyone. Sometimes I pretend to be younger too when I'm scared. Something changed in Yunji's face. The mask slipped. For a heartbeat, her eyes were ancient, filled with a weariness that seemed to stretch back decades. Centuries. Then she blinked and she was just a cheerful girl again. Let's color, she said brightly, pulling out coloring books. I have one with unicorns. Later that night, Jiwoo couldn't sleep. Hye-jin's words echoed in his mind. He found himself in the colony's archive room with Taeyong, the records keeper. I need you to search for something, Jiwoo said. Anything about special military projects, super soldiers, genetic modification. Taeyong raised an eyebrow but began typing. That's classified military data. We shouldn't have access. Just try. For hours they searched through databases. Most queries came back blocked or redacted. Then Taeyong found something. Wait, there's a file here. It's old, really old. Project Aegis. The file was heavily encrypted, but Taeyong was good at his job. Slowly, information appeared on the screen. Project Aegis, Advanced Enhancement for Global Interstellar Security, started in 2260. The goal was to create perfect soldiers, humans modified at the genetic level, enhanced strength, speed, intelligence. Look at this, Taeyong pointed. They started with thousands of volunteers, military personnel who were already exceptional. Jiwoo read the data, test after test, failure after failure. The modifications were too extreme. The subjects died, or went insane. Here, Taeyong scrolled down. By 2270, they had 127 candidates left. They tried a new approach. Younger subjects. Children whose bodies could adapt better. The next part made Jiwoo's stomach turn. Photos of children in hospital beds, medical data, brain scans. Most were marked failed or deceased. Then he saw it. Subject YJ4. A photo of a young girl, maybe 6 years old. Below it, status. Success. It's her, Taeyong whispered. Look at the date. This photo was taken in 2275. That's over 100 years ago. Jiwoo read the notes. Subject YJ4 showed perfect integration with all enhancements. Bones replaced with carbon nanofiber. Muscles augmented with synthetic tissue. Neural system upgraded with quantum processors. But there were problems. The subject's mind couldn't handle the changes. Psychology reports described mood swings, violence, dissociation. They found a solution, Taeyong read. Behavioral conditioning. They gave her a new personality, made her think like a child, act like a child. It was the only way to keep her stable. More files. Mission reports spanning decades. Subject YJ4 deployed to crisis after crisis. Always alone. Always successful. The perfect weapon wrapped in innocence. The last entry was from 3 months ago. Subject deployed to mining colony. Carvana 923. Vraktar siege. Standard protocol. Jiwoo felt sick. She's been doing this for over a century, fighting our wars, saving colonies, and she can never grow up, never be normal. They heard footsteps, light, skipping steps. Yunji appeared in the doorway carrying her stuffed cat. Hi, what are you doing? It's really late. Jiwoo quickly closed the files, but he knew she had seen. Her eyes, those impossibly old eyes, met his. You were reading about me, she said softly. It wasn't a question. Yunji, She walked into the room and sat on a chair, hugging her stuffed cat. It's okay. People always find out eventually. Then they get scared of me. We're not scared, Jiwoo said, though he wasn't sure it was true. The scientists made me special, she continued, her voice still childlike but tinged with sadness. They said I would help people, save people, and I do. I save lots of people. She looked up at them. But sometimes I forget things, like my real name, or how old I am. The doctor said that's good. Forgetting helps me stay happy. Taeyong found his voice. The conditioning, they forced you to act like this? Yunji tilted her head. Act like what? This is me. I like pink, and unicorns and making friends. But there was something desperate in her voice, like she was trying to convince herself. There was another me once, she said quietly. But she was sad all the time, angry. The doctors helped her go away. Now there's just Yunji, happy Yunji who helps everyone. Jiwoo knelt beside her chair. Don't you ever want to stop, to rest? Her smile was bright but fragile. Stop? But there are always people who need help. Always bullies to stop. That's what I'm for. She stood up suddenly. I should go check on our Vraktar friends. They might be lonely. As she skipped toward the door, she paused. Without turning around, she spoke in a different voice. Older. Tired. Thank you for being nice to me. Most people aren't once they know. But you have to forget what you saw. It's better that way. For everyone. Then she was gone, humming her little song, leaving Jiwoo and Taeyong staring at each other. In the morning, Yunji was her usual cheerful self. She made breakfast for everyone, taught the Vraktar warriors how to play hopscotch, and helped Heejin with her homework. But Jiwoo noticed things now. The way she sometimes paused mid-sentence like she was remembering a script. The flicker of something else behind her eyes when she thought no one was looking. Earth's perfect weapon. A century-old soldier trapped in eternal childhood, saving humanity one colony at a time, one forced smile at a time. That afternoon, a message came through from Earth Defense Command. Mission complete. Subject YJ4 to be recalled for next assignment. Yunji read it and clapped her hands. Yay, I get to help more people. But as she packed her things, humming and dancing, Jiwoo saw her reflection in the window. She wasn't smiling. Her ancient eyes stared back, full of exhaustion and loneliness that would never end. Then she blinked, and the mask was back in place. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being my friends, she called out cheerfully, and their savior, their monster, their eternal child, skipped back to her pink ship to fly away to the next crisis. Always alone, always smiling, always 16. The pink ship should have left 3 days ago, but Yunji kept finding reasons to stay. I need to finish my drawing for Hyejin, she announced the first day. The Vraktar want to learn more Earth games, she said the second day. I promised to help fix the cafeteria's ice cream machine, she insisted on the third. Jiwoo didn't push her to leave. None of them did. After learning the truth, the colony had silently agreed to give her these small moments of normalcy. On the fourth day, everything changed. Seung-ho burst into the control room, his face pale. Director, we're picking up massive energy signatures. It's not possible. The main screen lit up. Space itself seemed to tear open as ships emerged from hyperspace. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. The Vraktar Empire's entire war fleet had arrived, and at its center a ship so massive it dwarfed all others. The World Breaker, Karax's personal dreadnought. I thought they promised to leave us alone, Hanul said. Weakly Vrexkar, who had stayed at the colony, stepped forward. His forearms were shaking. That's not just our fleet. Those are ships from the Skarn hegemony, the Zalathi Collective, the Thorncock Swarm. The Supreme Overlord has gathered every major power in the sector. A communication came through. Karax appeared on screen, but he looked different, desperate, frightened. Humans of Colony K7923, he began. I come not as conqueror, but as supplicant. We need your help. Jiwoo stepped forward. Our help? You brought a war fleet to ask for help? Not a war fleet, a refugee fleet. Karax's voice cracked. They're coming. The Devourers. They've already consumed 3 galaxies. Now they're here. The screen changed to show deep space sensor data. Something was approaching. Not ships. Something else. Dark shapes that blocked out stars. Entities that shouldn't exist. What are they? Minjung whispered. Death. Karax replied. They consume everything. Matter, energy, space itself. No weapon can harm them. No shield can stop them. Every race that fought them is gone. Erased from existence. Yunji, who had been braiding Hyejin's hair, looked up. How many? Karax's 6 eyes focused on her. Millions, maybe more. They'll be here in 12 hours. And you want Yunji to fight them? Jiwoo asked. We want her to save us all, the Overlord admitted. She is our only hope. Yunji stood up slowly. Her cheerful expression was gone. Show me everything. For the next hour, they watched as data poured in. The Devourers were unlike anything in known space, living voids that consumed reality itself. Where they passed, nothing remained. Not even atoms. Races across the galaxy had tried everything. Superweapons that could crack planets. Viruses that rewrote the laws of physics. Desperate attempts to negotiate or surrender. Nothing worked. Yunji watched it all in silence. Finally, she walked to her pink ship. Yunji, wait, Jiwoo called. You can't fight these things alone. She turned back, and for once, she didn't smile. I'm not going to fight them. Everyone stared. Hanul stepped forward. Then what? I'm going to play with them, Yunji said simply. She pulled her backpack from the ship. It looked different now. Heavier. Ancient symbols glowed faintly on its surface. My backpack isn't just for toys, she explained. The scientists who made me, they gave me something special, for emergencies. She opened it. Inside was darkness, not empty space, something deeper, a void that hurt to look at. It's a pocket universe, she said quietly. Folded space-time, infinite storage. I keep my special things in there. Dong Hyun, the engineer, gasped. That's impossible. The energy requirements alone. Lots of things about me are impossible, Yunji replied. She reached into the void and pulled out a small cube covered in symbols. This is a reality anchor. And this, she pulled out a sphere that seemed to phase in and out of existence. This is a quantum tunneling device. And this, item after item emerged from the backpack. Technologies that shouldn't exist. Weapons that violated the laws of physics. Tools that could reshape reality. The scientists knew something like the devourers might come, she continued, so they gave me toys to play with them. Supreme Overlord Karax's voice came through the speakers. Will it be enough? Yunji finally smiled, but it was different. Older. Sadder. We'll find out. She began to skip toward the airlock, then stopped. She turned back to the colonists. Can I ask a favor? If this doesn't work, can you remember me? Not as a weapon or a monster? Just as Yunji who liked pink and making friends? Jiwoo nodded, his throat tight. We'll remember. Her smile brightened. Thank you. Oh, and Hyejin? The little girl stepped forward. Yes? Take care of Mr. Whiskers for me? She handed her the stuffed cat. He gets lonely. Then she was gone, dancing out into space to meet the end of everything. The next 12 hours were the longest in the colony's history. Every screen showed Yunji's progress as she flew toward the approaching darkness. The Allied fleets formed a defensive line, but everyone knew it was useless. The Devourers appeared on visual sensors. They were wrong. Shapes that shouldn't exist. Holes in reality with too many angles. Where they touched, space itself unraveled. Yunji stopped 1,000 kilometers from the leading edge. She looked tiny, a speck of pink against the infinite dark. Her voice came through the communications. Hi, I'm Yunji. Want to play? The Devourer's response was silence. They kept advancing. Yunji pulled the reality anchor from her backpack. Okay, let's start with tag. She activated the device. Reality solidified around her, creating a bubble of stable space. The leading Devourers hit it and stopped. For the first time in recorded history, they stopped. Now you're it, she called out, tagging the nearest void entity with her quantum tunneler. What happened next broke every sensor in the fleet. The tagged Devourer began to change. Its impossible geometry folded in on itself. The void became solid. Dark became light. It turned into a butterfly. A giant space butterfly made of stars and nebulae. Yunji giggled. Pretty, let's make more. She danced through space, her quantum tools turning Devourers into impossible beautiful things. Dragons made of solar winds, flowers of crystallized time, unicorns that galloped on rays of light. The void entities tried to adapt. They swarmed her, millions of reality-ending horrors converging on one small girl. Yunji reached deep into her backpack and pulled out something invisible. She held it up and suddenly she was everywhere and nowhere. 1,000 Yunjis. 1,000,000. Each one playing with the Devourers, transforming them, taming them. Ring around the rosy. Her voice echoed across space. The transformed entities began to dance, butterflies and dragons and starflowers spinning in cosmic circles. The remaining Devourers tried to flee, but Yunji was faster. No running in the playground, she scolded, and space itself became solid behind them. In 6 hours it was over. Where millions of world-ending horrors had been, now there was a garden, a cosmic playground of beautiful impossibilities, dancing and playing in the void. Yunji reappeared in front of the Allied fleet, her dress not even wrinkled. That was fun, she announced, but I'm tired now. She flew back to the colony. As she landed in the docking bay, the exhaustion finally showed. She stumbled. Jiwoo caught her before she fell. Did I do good? She asked weakly. You saved everyone, Jiwoo told her. The whole galaxy, she smiled. That's nice. Can I rest now? Just for a little while? They carried her to the medical bay. Minjung ran scans, then looked at Jiwoo with tears in her eyes. The energy she used. It's burning. Out her systems, her enhancements are failing. Yunji opened her eyes. They were clearing, as if a fog was lifting. It's okay, she said. Her voice was different. Older. Her real voice. I knew this would happen. The quantum manipulator requires too much power. But it was worth it. The childlike mask was fading. They could see her true face now. Beautiful but ancient, lined with centuries of loneliness and duty. I remember now, she continued. My name was Yunji. I really was 16 once, a volunteer. I wanted to protect people. She smiled sadly. I got my wish. She looked at Hyejin, who was clutching the stuffed cat. Thank you for being my friend, for seeing me. Her eyes began to close. Will you remember me? The real me? Always, Jiwoo promised. Yunji smiled one last time. Then the greatest weapon humanity ever created, the girl who saved the galaxy, closed her eyes and slept. She never woke up. They buried her on Earth with full military honors. But the colonists also held their own ceremony. They put up pictures of her laughing at her friendship party, playing games, being happy. The Vraktar Empire declared a day of mourning across all their worlds. The Cosmic Garden, as the transformed devourers came to be called, became a pilgrimage site for all races. But on Colony K7923, she was remembered differently. Not as a weapon or a savior, just as Yunji, the girl who liked pink, who made friends with everyone, who saved them all with a smile. In Hyejin's room, Mr. Whiskers sat on a shelf, and sometimes when she looked at it, she could swear it smelled like strawberry lip gloss, a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes come in the smallest packages and wear butterfly clips in their hair.